Hey, how you guys doing? I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Be Real About It podcast. I want you to do me a quick favor. Please hit the like, subscribe, thumbs up button, and then share on all social medias. I would appreciate that. Thanks. How's everybody doing out there? I want to thank you guys so much for attending the Be Real About It podcast, episode 2, part 2 of the vaccines that we're talking about. Now, if you saw last week's episode, you know that we were talking about vaccines, whether to take the vaccine, whether to not take the vaccine. We asked some important questions to see, if that would change people's minds when it comes down to vaccines. And ultimately, in this section, we're going to talk to people about how it is to take the vaccine. Some people on the episode took the vaccine. Some people are thinking about taking the vaccine. Some people are like, heck no, I'm not taking the vaccine at all. So we're going to get a little bit of both people's perspective when it comes down to this vaccine, and we're going to go from there, all right? So this is the Be Real About It podcast, episode 2, part 2. Let's go. Now, we have a special show for you today, obviously. I know if you catch last week's episode, you know that we were talking about vaccines and, the importance of taking vaccines or not taking the vaccines, or whether you're going to take the vaccine or you're not going to take the vaccine, right? So these are some of the questions that we were talking about. And in this episode, we're going to talk to a couple just average people, but at the same time, we'll talk to some people who are thinking about taking the vaccine, right? Because that's what's on everyone's mind, is whether they're going to take the vaccine or they're not going to take the vaccine. So let's find out. Let's find out from these people if they're going to take the vaccine or if they're not going to take the vaccine. Is there anything wrong with taking the vaccine? Is there anything right with not taking the vaccine? That's all important questions. What do they think about vaccines in general? What are the long-term effects of vaccines?
All right, awesome. So I want to bring up one of the things that that are very important as well, that I saw as well, right? One of the things, especially about this vaccine, that they're not stating is a word that comes before the vaccine, which is this is an experimental vaccine. Mm-hmm. The key word is experimental. Mm-hmm. Right. And in last episode, I gave people the definition of experimental. So I'm going to give you the definition of experimental and see what you think, since you already took it. So experimental means of a new invention or product based on untested ideas or techniques and not yet established or finalized. Mm-hmm. Does any of that scare you at all?
No. Because I feel like I get vaccinated when I was a child. I vaccinated my son. He's 5. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, everything is cancer causing nowadays. Like, your shampoo, the food we eat, like, people eat McDonald's and now all of a sudden they worried about the vaccine. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, just keep, like, this is how people wanted to get back to normal. This is how we have to do it. Like, this is how the last plagues were. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, this is just how the world is working at the time, and I just have faith in the science at this point.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. I mean, what a lot of the stuff. People do want to get back to normal, right? Mm-hmm. People definitely, nobody wants to stay home anymore. But does that mean, so that means that they're going to have to create 7 billion vaccines, right? Mm-hmm. For the amount of people that they are on this world. Is that even feasible?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. So so let's say if everyone in the US is vaccinated, then, so COVID is going to be here pretty much forever, if that's the case, right?
I mean, yeah, circling around.
Exactly.
But not making people as sick or not infecting as many people, because, like, once you get vaccinated, you still have a 5% chance of catching COVID. It doesn't make you invincible.
Yeah.
But what happens is that you don't get as sick, and then, like, you won't be super contagious, I guess, like, to other people.
Gotcha. So gotcha. And then we don't know if it's going to, if you're gonna have to take it, if you're gonna have to keep
Yeah,
on taking
that's
it
the
every
only
single
thing
year.
we probably like, but I think it probably will end up being like the flu that changes every year,
Yeah.
just because I see, new cases of different strains and everything popping up everywhere. Not that they're more deadly
Mm-hmm.
or anything, they're just more contagious. But I think that we probably will have to get some type of vaccine, maybe once or every 2 years or something.
Yeah. And I mean, you sound very confident, which is good, because it's securing, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, there are a lot of people who are, just to play devil's advocate, there are a lot of people who said, you know what, a lot of these vaccine companies, especially from the
Hmm.
things that they've done previously, should be like, why should I trust them now when
Hmm.
they've done so much harm, in the past? Especially if we talk about Pfizer and their
Yeah.
reputation, back in 1996 when with the, Nigerian and their experiment
Hmm.
and all the things that they've done. And when it comes down to it, not being able to sue vaccine companies for
Hmm.
what they actually put into these things. So,
Right.
like, what do you think about, those type of things?
I mean, of course, there's reason to not be trusting of these huge companies.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's their job to make vaccines, and it's not
Yeah.
mandatory.
Yeah.
No vaccines are mandatory.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're chaining people up and forcing it on them. Like, they hope to get 75 to 80% of the population vaccinated. They
Yeah.
know everybody's not going to take it, but the fact that the offer is there, like, what
Yeah.
else do we have
And what
at
about
this
what
point?
what about if they're mandating people to take it? Like, what happens if they say, you know what, you
I mean,
have
I
to
don't
take
even want to
this?
think about that at this point, because like, why would it be mandatory? Like,
I mean, they're kind of doing that. Well, they're doing that because they want to, go back to normal. But I've heard that if you're getting on a flight to go to a certain country, you have to be
mhm,
vaccinated first. I
mhm.
heard that if you want to go to any type of live sporting events and things of that nature, that you have to be vaccinated in order to go to those type of, events and things of that nature.
I didn't see that. Wow, I
Yeah,
gotta.
so that's what's brewing now. That's what people are thinking about in terms of being vaccinated and getting back to normal. Because obviously, if you're vaccinated, then you have a lesser chance of anything happening to you, or you're suing the place, or
Hmm.
whatever the case may be. So,
Right.
I think that it's probably gonna come down where I'm hoping not, but they're gonna want people to get vaccinated due to, um,
Wanting to get back to normal.
the mandating it, which is the scary part.
I mean, I don't want to put fear before it comes, but I feel like most people, when it becomes available to them, they'll take it, and then it won't come down to that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I said, I work for a spine doctor, and I have patients calling like, "Oh, can I get my vaccine?" Like, no, not here. Like, I have a
Not
lot of
yet.
patients, like, well,
Yeah.
we would never give it in my office anyway, but
Yeah.
like, it's just, people are eager. As much
Yeah.
as people are hesitant, there's people that are eager to get it. So
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of will balance it out and not force people to do stuff, because they can't
Yeah.
even force people to wear masks. What makes you think they could force people to get a
Exactly.
vaccine?
Exactly. Yeah.
This is America.
I don't even want to go down that route. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
god. I mean, they kind of
I'm
do it
just,
now with the kids. They say that you have to get your kids vaccinated before they go to school. So I mean, I
well,
could
I
see
mean,
something like that happening.
yes, I understand that. But it's really for the protection of your child, to be honest,
That's what they're
because
gonna say about the things for the protection of everybody else.
right.
That
So
could
then
be
you can't
possible.
risk it. If you choose to live that anti-vax life, you need to go and find a community of other anti-vaxxers. Like, that's all I gotta
Find that
say. Like, I
community.
don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Like, uh, this is the risk that you take, like, not,
Yeah.
you know, doing what we're supposed to do in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
You risk not going to public school. I
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
uh,
yeah, you're right. I mean, you're definitely right. Definitely right about that. You know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Positive direction. We have to look toward the positive.
Definitely. And hopefully we're not on the commercials, later on saying, have you taken the vaccine before?
Yes.
The COVID-19 vaccine before.
But then you're entitled to compensation.
Exactly. We don't want those. We don't want that. So let's see how it goes, I guess.
I mean, like, with science, like, they said that there was a doctor in Florida that got the vaccine and then he died like 2 weeks later.
Shoot. Yeah.
But they don't know if it was for COVID. He had like a stroke.
I don't like it. I don't know.
So they were like, oh, he could have had like a low platelet count or whatever.
That's too much.
So I don't know.
Too much of a coincidence for me.
I mean, but that's one person out of the million people. If that's enough to deter you, then like you can't do nothing in the world.
I mean, that's definitely true. Because there's risk with everything. There's risk with everything.
It's like every time you drive a car, every time you decide to chill with your friends without a mask, like it is still a risk on everything. So don't judge me for my risk.
No,
okay?
Not at all.
Don't, because I had some angry conversations today. About the COVID vaccine.
Oh, man.
But it's like I'm gonna stand firm in my choice.
Listen, it's already done. What you can't go back.
Exactly. Like, well, no, I don't have to go get the second one. You
already got the first one.
Well, it doesn't work until about 10 days after the second, I think.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so you don't get the full immunity until after the second dose. And then I did hear some accounts of, people feeling like a little flu-like after the second dose, fever, chills, but that lasts no more than 24 hours.
Gotcha.
And it's obviously not as bad as catching COVID.
Yeah, I hear that. I definitely hear that. Yeah, I definitely hear that. So I mean, we'll see how it goes. Let's just see how it goes. But I want to thank you so much for your input. It was amazing.
Yes, thank you for asking me.
Of course, and we'll definitely talk about this in the future as well. This is one of many conversations.
Yes, I agree.
All right. Thank you, Naisha. I appreciate you.
Have a good evening.
Likewise, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, people. That was Naisha. She got the vaccine, and she's happy. She's happy. So she thought that it was she thinks that it's a move in the right direction. So only time would tell. But at the same time, if you feel that way, that you feel like Naisha, that to get back to normal and to trust the scientists and things of that nature when it comes down to it, then you should take the vaccine and and just hope for the best and see where it goes. Let's get some more callers on the line. All right, we'll get back to it. All right, cool. So we have Fatima on the line right now, and she's going to tell a little bit about her side in terms of what she thinks about, COVID and the vaccines and all that good stuff. How you doing, Fatima? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So we have these vaccines and all this good stuff that we're talking about. First of all, how do you feel about vaccines just in general?
Well, I have gotten vaccines in the past, and it's because I used to work for a hospital.
You got the COVID?
Not the COVID.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get the COVID nor the COVID vaccine.
Just regular vaccine.
Before COVID dawned upon us.
Yeah.
I have gotten vaccines in the past.
Oh, okay. So just in general, you're saying that you've gotten vaccine. All right. Gotcha. But not the vaccine, the COVID vaccine yet.
Yeah. No, I have not gotten the COVID vaccine.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Awesome. So how do you feel about getting vaccinated with the COVID?
I think that I'm not comfortable with the COVID vaccine, considering that there's just not enough data and clinical trials that support it, considering the entire matter was rushed by the government and the FDA. And a lot of these things, they take a while. There's so many different strains of the virus itself, and now there's more mutations coming up on us. And we still need more clinical trials that will support the vaccine will, at least prevent people from getting COVID again, or will help with the new mutations and the new variants.
Interesting, very interesting. So the funny part is I had the last caller, her name was Naisha. So she said that she was that it's a brand new technology that we have now. I was telling her how mumps was the fastest vaccine ever. It took 4.5 years to make, well, this new COVID one is actually the fastest. It's less than a year, let's say 9.5, 10 months to actually make. But she said that she was perfectly fine with it because there's been so much research, so much money dumped into it and things of that nature. And technology is just so new now that's what she just says, I'm going to trust the scientists, and I'm just going to trust, science just in general. You don't have that same trust for them now.
So it's not that I don't trust the scientists. Even though we have new technology, it's not like we have new people other than newborns, so how effective is this vaccine for people that have underlying issues or have other medical issues? What are some of the repercussions from the vaccine? There's I feel like there's not enough data that supports that, because you're right, this vaccine was approved very quickly. But in the pharma world, a vaccine or medication can take anywhere from a year to 10 years.
Exactly.
For it to be approved. So the fact that, even though COVID-19 started late last year, of 2019, but there's just so many variances that I believe that still need to be tested, and so many different types of people need to be tested.
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly.
Is it safe for pregnant women? Is it safe for the youth? Is it gonna, stop your child from growing? There's not that I think that will happen, but those are some concerning thoughts.
Yeah, there's most vaccines I heard they take about somewhere between 7 to 14 years to get approved. So the fact that this one was approved in less than a year is what has a lot of the controversy. But I'm gonna ask you a question in which I asked the last caller as well. They're leaving one word out that's pretty important, I think. And I spoke about this again last episode. They're missing the word experimental vaccine. They're just saying vaccine or COVID vaccine, but they're leaving out the word experimental. And what I did was, I had to look up the word experimental just to know exactly where we were coming from. So experimental definition is of a new invention or product based on untested ideas or techniques and not yet established or finalized. That is the COVID vaccine in a nutshell, experimental vaccine. And so you're not willing to take stuff that's not yet established or finalized.
I don't know if I will take it, to be honest. I feel like I have to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
It is experimental because, not to repeat myself, but it just goes back to like what are the types of patients they've tested? What age group did they test? And what was the data? Because even every COVID test kit is different.
Yeah. And
even every vaccine is different. And I know right now China is very close to pushing out their vaccine to the global market. And then there was like news about Moderna being, not as effective compared to Pfizer's vaccine, which is funny because Moderna's been working on it since last year with another company, and so it's in a weird space.
Yeah, and a lot of people, vaccines haven't had the best, they haven't had the best
reputation.
Yeah, they haven't had the best reputation since the beginning, obviously, especially Pfizer, with their thing, back in 1996, what a lot of people say, which is, like I said, which is definitely, I think that's the reason why a lot of people are nervous about that aspect, because of the reputation that they do have, and a lot of people, and the fact that, to be honest with you, that you can't sue vaccine companies. So you can't sue like a Pfizer if they do give you like a faulty vaccine and things of that nature. So
yeah, so
that's when I was doing some research, I actually found that out. I'm like, that's crazy. That you actually can't sue them for actually giving you something that potentially could be harmful or deathful. So what do you think about the nurse who passed out when she took the vaccine shot? Did you think that was because of the vaccine, or was just nothing?
No, because if you read the article, it states that she was like suffering from, like, I think, stress, and
Okay.
that something like that happens to her often. So
Gotcha.
it seems like she had a pre-existing condition, because I mean, there's other nurses that went live, there's politicians that went live, in getting the vaccine, and none of them really passed out. Like, I don't anticipate like anyone to really pass out from a vaccine right away, unless it's not it's not a vaccine, it's something more lethal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when it comes to her, I think she just had a pre-existing issue.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely good, because that painted such a negative picture in a lot of people's eyes. I mean, can you imagine? It's like, yeah, I just got the vaccine and
and I just passed out.
I don't feel so well. That would be like, wait, that was the vaccine. What do you mean? Like, no, that was a lot of people. Sometimes, things are always what it is. Like, if you see something like that, some people would be like, oh no, she had pre-existing conditions and all that other stuff, and then some people would look at you and be like, that wasn't no pre-existing condition or anything like that. That was the COVID who did it to her. Like, a lot of people would say that.
Yeah, but I think that's where people should, like, read more and not just read the heavy headline.
Yeah.
The headline can say one thing and the article can be stating something completely different. And I think during COVID, I've seen that a lot happen. Yeah. Whether, I'm not here to say that New York Times is better than the Daily News, or Fox is better than CNN. But yes, I think that, all media establishments have definitely put out some very catchy headlines and titles, where when you actually read the article and you do research, it's not really what the headline is.
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves the propaganda and very, awesome titles to things.
Yeah, because it's eye-catching.
Yeah, I mean, it's clickbait at the same time. It gets people to click on stuff. So I can definitely see why they would do that. So are you gonna wait to get it, or are you gonna are you like, I'm gonna give this about a year and a half and then see what happens, or are you gonna be on board, like, what, in about 5-6 months I think I could do it?
So I personally know people that have gotten it, like my friends. They're healthcare workers. They've gotten it.
Yeah.
Toodles to them.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna wait it out. To be
honest. How long? Is there a time period?
I definitely want to see until, I think I've said this from the beginning, with just having conversations with my family and friends, that things are just not going to go back to normal till like fall, winter of this year, and that's just the bottom line.
I think so longer.
And it could be depending on how, depending on this mutation that, there's not a lot.
Yeah.
That they haven't been. I don't know if they've been speaking about it as much. Maybe I'm not keeping up with it, but I think I would want to wait and see how it all plays, because right now they're just starting to vaccinate like healthcare workers and police officers. And,
exactly.
First responders. So by the time it gets to like my tier, I guess I'd have to.
It was about a year in already, and if people would have grown a third head, they would have been all right.
Yeah, I think by that time we'll have much more data. Even I think by the end of the year, as people gradually start to get vaccinated, we'll have much more data that will either steer us away or want us to get vaccinated.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, and this is what what I brought up last time too, is they're giving it to first responders, people in the healthcare community. They're giving it to those people first. So I'm thinking inside my head, if there was some grand conspiracy, right, those would be the last people that I would want to give it to, right? You wouldn't want the doctors and
to go down.
Exactly, because if they do,
we're screwed.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's all downhill from there. It's all downhill from there. See ya, everybody. So that's why that's what it kind of gives me a little bit of especially you have and it's not just the medical, it's the politicians. A lot of them have taken it. Or could it be something that they say they have taken it but didn't really take? Like how that doctor took that fake shot. See, stuff like that. I don't like stuff like that. And you make it seem like you took it. So are they really giving these vaccines to these people, or is it just for show?
Well, I mean, the race to get the vaccine was definitely a show. To get the vaccine passed by the FDA, it was a marathon in the pharma world.
Yeah.
But if I don't believe that it is a show, because at some point, let's just say there's 10 people in this room that need to be vaccinated, and you give shots to like half the people. You still have to give shots to the other 5, and you have to provide data. And if everyone's data is off, you know what I mean? It's something. It's gonna ring a bell. It's gonna flag it. It's gonna flag the data. And
but the thing is that the data that they have, the data that they have, is it too soon? No, is it too soon? Because the thing is that we don't know what the outcomes are because it's too soon. So a lot of the vaccines that we had, a lot of people didn't develop things until a couple years after, and then now they're telling people, especially telling women, be careful with the vaccine because we don't know the potential of if you wanted to have a baby, and they don't know those type of things, so they're telling people to be cautious with the vaccine. So I say that to say this. What you know what I mean? What do people people do?
Well, I think this is where we are. I guess the people that are being vaccinated right now, and this is where it goes back to your power word, experimental. Yeah. And in a way that they have expanded the trials to the public for a greater good in there,
Yeah.
But at this point, that's if they need to vaccinate people in order to if there is some correction that needs to be done, or if it is resistant to the mutation, then they know they're on the right track. And if they're not, then regardless of what the result is, they need to go through a trial and error phase. They need to sit here and I think this is where I guess they've expanded their, like I said, their clinical trials to the public, just calling it, we created a vaccine and it's for the greater good, because a lot of this is impacting the economy, and which is why it was rushed to begin with.
Exactly. I mean, and there was a lot of money dumped into it. I wish they could do the same thing for other things that we have going on, which would be amazing. Right. Because that'll make, a lot of people's lives a lot easier as well. when it comes down to it. So it's tough. It's tough. I mean, at the end of the day, people do want to go, back to normal. Like, I completely understand why people do want to they don't want to keep staying home,
Yep. Losing out on money,
not have exactly
social life.
Yes, waiting for the government to give them stimulus checks, which $600 is honestly ridiculous.
Which it is ridiculous.
Yeah, for people who, I mean, that's not even rent. Like, not even barely.
$600 is just groceries for a house,
a family. A family.
If you have 2 kids and a husband and wife, that money is going into groceries.
That's groceries. That's 100% correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the sad part about it, because you have so much hurt going on, so it definitely is sad. Do you think that they're gonna start telling people that if they don't take the vaccine, they can't go to certain places? Because that's what the word is now, is that, let's say if you wanted to travel to another place, or if you wanted to do something, you have to be vaccinated first, and then or you wouldn't be able to go.
I think when it comes to travel, yes, because you're going into other countries, and you don't know what those other countries have. Even if you were to just bring your dog, there's certain dogs that can't enter certain countries.
Yeah.
There's restrictions. They need to be vaccinated. You need to be vaccinated. So, but when it comes to like your employer telling you to be vaccinated, I don't think that employers have the right to tell their employees that they need to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
To be honest, but for people that are ready to be vaccinated now, like police officers, first responders, healthcare workers, a lot of these professions have union support, and I think at this point, this is where the union should step in to the government and say, you will leave it up to the employee
exactly
to vaccinate themselves or not. And I think that this is where the union really needs to stand up. Obviously not every workplace has a union establishment, but like somewhere like police officers, they have a very good and strong union. Construction workers, somehow if you're working in a city hospital, you are most likely unionized. And you don't have to be a nurse to be a healthcare worker. You don't have to be a doctor. You can be you can be so many other. You can be administrative, you can be a PCA, you can be a clerk. You're still dealing with patients, just as much, right? And just as much a nurse and a doctor is, So, and that's where their union needs to come in and say, I don't think that you should mandate my employee. I understand it's just like, getting another, like a flu vaccine or something. But even with the flu, like when I worked at the hospital, it was either you get the flu vaccine or you wear a mask throughout the entire flu season. So therefore, because nobody wanted to wear a mask, really, a lot of people would just get vaccinated.
Yeah, now you obligated. You know what I mean, to get the flu. I mean, which is. I mean, at the same time, can you imagine? I mean, I can imagine it, but can you imagine? People don't want to wear masks now. Just in general, can you imagine telling people that they have to be vaccinated in order to go anywhere? I mean, yeah. Oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy now. So I can only imagine, but you know what I mean. We're just gonna have to wait and see what the future lies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to thank you so much for attending the Be Real About It podcast and talking about this. You have been amazing.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right. Thank you so much. That was Fatima, y'all. Yes, vaccines.
We're speaking vaccines. Hon, how's your arm feel? My wife just got a second shot. Hopefully later on she'll catch a third shot.
My
arm hurts.
Your arm hurts? Well, that's not good.
No, her arm hurts. It hurt the first time too, right?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Dang.
So that's
It's an intramuscular injection, so of course the muscle is gonna hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a flu shot.
I want to give you an intramuscular injection.
Oh
Hey,
my
hey,
God.
hey.
What?
We are on right now. I just want to let you guys know that.
It's a PG show?
Yeah, it's not PG, but it's not that type of show. We have episodes coming with that later. We have different episodes coming on later with that. All right, that's just not now.
Okay.
That's not
All
for
right.
now.
All right.
Not for now. But
Ain't dead yet.
All right, so let's talk about this, right? So you don't want to take the vaccine, correct?
Me?
Yes, you.
I see no purpose in me taking the vaccine.
You don't want to.
How do you see no purpose? Like,
I don't.
Wait. Yeah, well, he says he don't see no purpose.
right,
Right.
which doesn't make sense to me.
All right. So, and you do see a purpose.
Absolutely.
I mean, you already took it. So, I mean, at the end of the day.
I'd rather take it. I mean, like, COVID scares the shit out of me.
Hope it doesn't scare me.
I don't, you don't really know, it attacks, it kills healthy people. I'm not saying all the time, but
Yeah.
it has. So,
Yeah.
No. The survival rate is much greater for our age range than you think or than they tell you.
fine.
Yeah.
Do your own research. No. Don't tell me, because you're going to tell me fine.
No fighting. No fighting.
No.
I'm not fighting,
We
but-
speak normally like this.
I'm just saying, this is that.
But this is what the numbers say.
I get that, but I don't care what the numbers say.
Yeah.
This is how I feel. And that's
Yeah, but it doesn't. That's the thing. It has nothing to do with your feelings. The same way you say, "Oh, the virus," it doesn't care. The virus doesn't care about your feelings, and those are the numbers. That's like
again,
that's facts.
that's why that's why I'm getting it.
No, you're getting it because you have more purpose. You work in a hospital.
Yeah.
I'm also getting it because I don't want to get, if I get COVID, God forbid, it would be a lesser form of it.
So I'm going to take something that I can still get COVID. That's what they're telling me. Even if I take this, I can still get this. So what's the point?
I just told you. It lessens the severity.
Sorry, Alex. I mean, you could chime in.
No.
A little bit like that.
I feel like I should have you guys on videos so we can actually see what's actually going on. So why don't you? Better yet, why don't you want to get vaccinated, Tony?
Because listen,
Like, what's the problem?
I'm not saying Corona doesn't exist. I'm not saying Corona's not killing people. I'm just saying that if I came down with Corona, I don't think that's what's gonna kill me. It's not gonna kill me. I go by the numbers. The numbers say I'll get it. I'll get sick. I might get sick. I might not get sick.
Right,
Yeah.
but you are also a smoker, and you still smoke.
I don't smoke cigarettes anymore.
You still smoke, so you're doing stuff to your lungs.
My lungs are clear. Every time I go to the doctor tells me, "Tony, your lungs are clear."
I'm just saying.
Ganja helps my lungs. My lungs are strong.
She said you're a smoker.
I smoke weed. I don't smoke. I used to smoke. I was a heavy cigarette. Not heavy, like a pack a day I would smoke. But I don't smoke.
A pack a day, that's not heavy? Wait. A pack a day is not heavy.
Yes, it is heavy.
I mean, considering what we grew up with. We grew up 2-3 packs of cigarette a day smokers.
Hey, what are you, like the 40s, the 50s when you grow up? You were born in like the 70s, man.
I was born in the 70s. What do you think? My dad probably used to smoke like 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah, my dad smoked, I think, maybe 3 sometimes.
You see?
3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
That's 60 cigarettes a day, yeah.
All right, so, dang, my God.
You're basically putting one out and you're smoking one and putting it out, smoking it and putting it out.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I would basically, me, probably smoke 2 cigarettes an hour.
Yeah.
If I was drinking, You know, you multiply that. You could smoke a whole pack a night drinking.
Gotcha.
Anyway, the point is that you wouldn't know if you got sick, that there's a possibility it could affect your lungs.
Yeah, but no, I'm telling you no.
What?
Is there an expert?
I have a friend, a very good friend of mine, right? We're relatively the same age. He's a year older than me.
Yeah.
He is overweight. He has asthma. He has actual health concerns.
Yeah.
Where he feels as if he gets it, that's it. He's done. He's like, if I get this, I'm dying.
He's scared.
Yeah.
He's not scared. He goes to work every day. He puts on his mask. Does what he's supposed to do.
Because you have to.
Yeah. I mean,
People
it
have
is.
to do what they have to do.
I understand that, and I do it too. I put my mask on. And I have to.
But here's the thing, though. So I had on the first episode, I had my nutritionist Helene on, right? And she said that the biggest contributor to people who obviously have COVID, who get COVID and then end up dying from COVID, are people who are obese, right? And obviously who have underlying conditions like asthma and things of that nature. So is obesity the real concern then? Like, is that the real thing that we have to look at, and not necessarily just being,
Absolutely.
typical?
That's my point.
I don't know.
What he's saying is actually what I preach all the time. I'm like, before COVID came around, there was 100 other things that were killing us, and those things are still killing us.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. Deal with the obesity. If it's something you don't have control over, then you have no control. If you have no control, like if you have a lung disease or something, some disease that puts you at risk, right? Like your immune system is down.
Yeah.
Then by all means, but you can't. How are you shutting down all of society? It makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people.
And now I think that this whole herd immunity that they were talking about, I think that's all coming into play anyway. But so much money has been spent on this that they need to put the vaccines out.
Yeah.
They have to. They have to justify it now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or else it was all done for nothing.
I don't agree with that.
Why don't you agree? Why don't you agree?
Why don't you agree?
Because it's a real thing, and it still is a real thing.
Yeah.
It is a real thing, and you're absolutely right. It is a real thing. But it's the same as, let's say,
like it's swamped right now.
Should somebody with clogged arteries, clogged heart arteries, have McDonald's 7 days a week? Absolutely not, right? He shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But does that mean you should shut down all McDonald's and not let anybody eat it because this guy's at risk of dying from it?
No, but we're not talking about that.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
If I'm in an age range and I'm in a category where I'm not at risk, why should I?
Nobody said you are not. Nobody's not at risk.
I'm not at risk from dying from this thing.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, first of all, anybody can get corona, and anybody can have complications to it. So I've heard that there's healthy people who've died from COVID. So it's not necessarily saying that you're not. I mean, you're not at high risk. Like, you don't have any underlying conditions that anyone know of. That I know of. But but I've heard that people, especially even this, it's happened where young people have died.
You've heard. You say you've heard.
What do you mean? There's
somebody else
on the news.
All right, but the news also tells a lot of things.
And what's your point? Are you? I mean, and then it gets into a different point.
So
are you going to believe the news or you're not going to believe the news?
Right?
I said it comes down to, are you going to believe the news or are you not going to believe the news when it comes down to it at the end of the day?
It's not even about believing the news or not believing the news. It's about how they portray it. Now, for example, they'll point out the one person who was healthy and died. And you said you heard it, and I heard it too. That's one person in a population of 350 million.
Right, but it's more than
so I have the same odds of basically hitting the Powerball. So why haven't I hit the Powerball then?
It's more than one
because
person,
you're not a lucky guy.
Exactly. So but that's the thing. I'm not that unlucky where I'm going to be the one in 350 million that the thing's going to kill.
It could be.
Oh my God.
I know it. I don't have those kind of luck, either bad or I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm even Steven.
Well, let's talk to the person who actually did get vaccinated.
Yeah, go ahead.
Come on, talk to me. All right. So you got vaccinated. What was the reason why you got vaccinated?
Because I would like to lessen my chance any way I could of getting COVID and, giving it, God forbid I get it and I give it to my parents, who one is immunocompromised. Like, I would feel horrible giving it to somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely. So I have a question for the people who are probably for the vaccine. This vaccine was created in less than a year. Let's say 9.5, 10 months. Most vaccines take about 7 to 14 years to be approved. How do you feel about this vaccine being created so fast?
I mean, it's scary. Don't get me wrong. Like, of course, I'm scared of the unknown, as I'm sure tons of people are. But like, I think some, they're not putting the live vaccine into the. They're not putting the live virus into the vaccine.
Yeah. It's a strain. Yeah,
it's the compounds it's made from.
Mm-hmm.
But
so the people who don't know, for the people who don't know, they actually don't give you the vaccine. It's not like a dummy down version or a lesser version of COVID. It's something that
it's not like the flu shot where
exactly
you get injected with some form of it. No.
Yeah, exactly.
These are just I think it was the mRNA. I think.
Yeah. mRNA. Yeah. And then you're supposed to build antibodies for it.
Right.
Yeah. So I have
their thing. Go ahead.
I have a quick question then. So and I've asked a lot of people this, right? So with this vaccine, what they're not telling people is they're not using another word that's associated with it. So it's called experimental vaccine. And I looked up the word experimental vaccine, and this is usually what I tell people, and it says of a new invention or product based on untested ideas or techniques and not yet established or finalized. So that's the definition of experimental, which this is an experimental vaccine. So you obviously felt comfortable taking this experimental vaccine.
Yes.
And you don't have any, you're not worried about any conditions like later on.
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm not nervous about it. Of course I am. But you got to outweigh the good and the bad. Like what I don't know yet is what I don't know. But I took my chance. It was my choice, and I took my chance.
So you were you're like, it wasn't. You wasn't really for it or against it. You were like, listen, I'm just going to take my chances and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, I don't want to get it, and I don't want to get it and give it to my loved ones or, anybody for that fact.
Yeah.
That maybe couldn't handle it. Like, I would feel horrible.
But getting the vaccine doesn't mean that you wouldn't be able to spread it to someone else, right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
But if I don't have it and I have a greater chance of not having it.
But it doesn't mean that you can't get it, though. It just means that yourself.
No, it doesn't.
So
right.
Yeah. So what it means, so people who, are under the same assumption as you are when it comes down to you getting the vaccine, that really wouldn't work for them, because at the end of the day, it doesn't prevent you from actually getting COVID. And you can still spread it to other people as well.
Right, but I'll take that 90% chance over 100% chance of. I'll take that 90% chance of not getting it.
Yeah.
And getting it less than getting it full blown anytime.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah. Life is definitely all about chances.
It's just like everything else. It has its pros and its cons.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's definitely true.
Everybody's body is different. Yeah. Everybody will react to it differently.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, that's honestly definitely what it's about. You know what I mean? It's definitely about.
You know what my answer to that is? What? I can't speak?
Of course.
You're rolling your eyes. Wasn't there a doctor who
like, here you go again.
He had underlying conditions.
All right. So why does it work? Why does it work when I use it that way? You say he has underlying conditions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't a healthy individual.
I don't know. I don't know what he had.
So Tony, what you're saying is you want the natural way of doing of combating this.
Way. If I'm meant to perish from coronavirus,
yeah,
then so be it. But I don't think I will. I think I'm like, I'm high enough on the food chain where I'm not going anywhere. I'll survive this one.
Hopefully.
It's a very cocky way of thinking.
Why is it a very cocky? You just sat there and told me, but there were reports of healthy people dying.
Yes.
All right, so there was a report of a doctor dying from taking the injection.
Very true.
Do you know why he died?
I have no idea. All I know is he got.
Yeah, but then you can't talk about it if you do not know the facts.
Do you know for a fact that those people were actually healthy, or you just taking it under the assumption that they're telling you they were healthy?
I am taking it under the assumption.
Right. So I'm taking it under the assumption that they shot this guy up with something that killed him. I'd let Mason take it.
Yeah, so Tony, when you saw the nurse pass out, that wasn't that didn't leave a very good mark on you.
No, I wasn't taking that thing anyway. It's comical to me.
What are you talking about?
So much like the nurse on television, she got it and she fell out.
Right, that could be because she's afraid of needles. You know how many people I've seen pass out?
I'm afraid of needles too. I've never passed out.
I've taken blood from people and they passed out, laying down on the table.
I know people.
He knows people. Everybody knows people. People know people.
That's interesting though, because you see, I mean, in this marriage, right? We have the husband who is like, no way, I'm not gonna take the vaccine, and then you have the wife that's like, no, I already took the vaccine and I feel good. So this is
somehow we coexist.
I mean, I don't really feel good right now. I'm starting to feel a little achy, but
yeah,
I could deal with that.
Yeah.
It'll be gone in a day.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow morning.
A lot of people, some people said they took Motrin, Tylenol, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very interesting.
Different opinions.
Yeah, from two different sides,
Everyone's different.
Which is exactly I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's how the US feels. That's how a lot of people feel now. A lot of people feel like they want to go the natural way and do things by eating well and just go on it based off that. And then some people are like, nah, shoot me with the vaccine because I don't want no chances.
Yeah. I mean, like, I work in a hospital, and a lot of the staff, like, especially in my department, they won't take it.
Yeah.
Nurses, they won't take it. They don't want it.
Yeah.
But they're,
so
people in the medical field, and they have their reasons because they have their reasons.
So this is a good way. So this is the reason why this is a good question to pose as well, because for the people who are like, no, I don't want to take it, they're actually giving the vaccines to healthcare professionals. Like I've said before, they're giving it to first responders and things of that nature. They're actually taking it first. So if this was such a deadly and controversial vaccine, those people would probably be the last ones that I would want to take the vaccine, right, if it's gonna do some sort of harm to them, right? We don't want
because there's gonna be nobody to take care of.
Exactly, people. Because it's shit out of luck if it comes down to that.
But I'm guessing they're thinking that this is to keep it from not happening.
Exactly.
So that we're all around. Which
is a little, it is a little comforting. I mean, if you really look at it, if you have, politicians and you have first responders and you had all these people actually taking it first, it is a little, comforting in that aspect of it.
The ones that actually took it and want it.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not mandatory.
Oh, so not all doctors or nurses have to take this. It's just if you want to.
No, it's not mandatory.
Interesting.
To them first.
Yeah, like it's offered to us, but we're not. You don't have to. Like they can't It's not mandatory. You don't have to have it.
Gotcha. You're just gonna have to take your chances.
Right.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, I mean, and here's the thing too. I mean, throughout history, the pharmaceutical companies haven't been the best. They haven't had the best reputation in general. So,
nope.
In order for something like this to happen, I mean, that's why there's a lot of controversy behind it, because a lot of people are like, listen, don't come near me. I mean, there's a lot of people here in the U.S. that have never been vaccinated, right?
Right. And
or been vaccinated once.
Horrible.
Yeah, or been vaccinated once. I mean, a lot of the older population, if you look at a lot of the younger, if you look at kids and things of that nature, they have been vaccinated, right? So, but that's the thing in itself, especially Pfizer, with their thing, and you have all the other companies who's pretty much, done some controversial things in the past. So that's definitely.
I don't think that you can have. I don't think you could be in that business and not run into things, because nothing is guaranteed. Nobody knows what happens. Like with
when you guys were making fucking oxycodone, and everybody was snorting, and all these fucking kids were dying. They knew what they were doing. Yeah. Bullshit. I don't buy it.
Okay.
I mean, that and the fact that you can't sue vaccine companies for a faulty vaccine, that's interesting in itself, because there's a lot of you can potentially sue pharmaceutical companies to some degree when it comes down to any type of drug that you take and if it actually
of course,
but you can't sue vaccine companies. I mean, I heard you have to petition, and then if that's the case, then the vaccine companies they aren't paying out of their actual pockets, and then things of that nature. So that's a lot of people have questions about that as well.
I would have a question about that too. I don't understand how that would be possible unless you chose. I don't know. I honestly don't even know.
Yeah.
This is Mother Nature, man. Mother Nature saying, you guys are fucking around too much.
Yeah.
Some of you got to die. And that's it.
Some of you, damn.
What it's saying. That's
well, damn.
You guys are fucking around too much. Some of you got to go.
Damn.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that is definitely horrible.
Of course it's horrible, but watch Bambi. Watch The Lion King. It's the circle of life, man. There's a song about it. It's the circle of life.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say about that.
There's a point in the time where too many babies are being born and too many people are living too long.
So this is... That's another conversation, because that goes into the whole conspiracy theory about population control and all that other stuff.
Yeah, but that's Mother Nature. I mean, I'm not conspiracy theorying nothing. I'm just saying this is Mother Nature's way of saying you guys are fucking around too much. You guys wanted to drive Hummers and this and fucking everybody wants an SUV. Some of you gotta go.
What does that have to do with COVID-19?
Exactly. Now he's getting off track.
What does a Hummer
does with his analogies?
What are you saying, man? No, you're crazy, man. That's what's happening.
No.
Oh man.
I don't know. Like, I personally believe that this virus was somehow planted for people to get. I definitely think that.
Planted for people to get. Why would you take something that they're giving you to get rid of something that was planted?
Because maybe the people that planted it weren't the ones that were making vaccines to try to fight it. It could be two different people. Right?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. This is very interesting.
What do you think? That there aren't people out there that truly want to
kill us?
Help people? I know there's people out there that want to kill us. We hear about it every fucking day.
Yeah, there's people out there that truly want to help people, but the pharmaceutical companies are not those people.
The pharmaceutical companies just want to make money.
Right.
But there are some drugs that they have out that do help people.
What name? Tell me.
I don't know who makes blood pressure medications, diabetes medications, antibiotics.
But a lot of the stuff that you're mentioning could be controlled by exercise and diet.
Right? Or it just is bad genetics.
If it's bad genetics, then it's not through fault of your own.
Right.
That's one thing.
Right.
My father had diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I lost him young, so I don't remember what his diet was. Mm-hmm. I know my mom's diet was a terrible diet. She didn't have a good diet, and she contracted diabetes and these diseases where she needed medication.
My mom has multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, but that's something.
She did not have medication. She would not.
But that's something out of her control, is what I'm saying. What I'm. Yeah, but if it's something that's within your control,
then you fix it.
Then you take.
Or you choose not to, and suffer the consequences.
I don't know. Sorry,
Listen, man. No, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Well,
this is going to be an entertaining episode.
Listen, we definitely. The good thing is that this is not the first time or the second time we're going to talk about this. This is an ongoing conversation, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have you guys on again, obviously, so we can talk about part 3 of this vaccines and all that good stuff. So I want to thank you guys for
thank you for having us. Hopefully I'll be around.
Hopefully I'll be
around for part 3.
Yes, we hope so too. We hope we're looking forward to it. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, you're welcome.
There you guys go. Episode 2, part 2 of the Be Real About It podcast, vaccines. Are you for it or are you against it? We had some really good people on. They told us whether they were for it or they were against it. And, you got to make up your own decision at the end of the day, right? Right. Well, I want to thank you guys for tuning in again. We got episode 3 next week. We're going to get off this COVID conversation. We're going to talk about a little something different. Let's talk about Donald Trump, right? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right? Be Real About It podcast. I'll see you guys next week. See you later.